Hey all, this is Jeff Wood, and some of you might know me on the web as The Overhead Wire. You might be wondering why I'm doing this Patreon thing, so let me give you a bit of history and background on the work. Back in 2006, I sent out emails day in and day out, probably 10 to 15 a day to my boss, and she wanted them all in one email instead of cluttering up her inbox, so I did that instead. And that started the direct transfer email. And we started sending it to board members, we started sending it to members of the organization, then we started sending it to everybody who wanted to be on the list. And it's become pretty popular, I think. So fast forward 9 years later and we're still doing it. It's going, but under a little bit different circumstances. Reconnecting America disappeared, but I'm keeping the list going on my own. And just a little bit of background on the email itself. We cycle through about 1,500 articles a day and share the most interesting 30 to 40 in 5 different categories. We also have a weekly podcast now, housed at Streets Blog, called Talking Headways, which is pretty exciting. But these projects are kind of outside the usual work that I do, and for the most part, a labor of love. I do them in the evenings and outside of work for the most part. They're really not sustainable that way, and previously we had organizational help from Reconnecting America a little bit, but not a ton. I was usually doing this stuff until midnight, 2 a.m. Some of you know. Some of you even ask me if I stay up till 4 when it comes out on the West Coast, but that's not true. I automatically send it. But, you know, the reason why we go through so much of this news is to try to educate ourselves and you all about what's going on in cities around the country, which is pretty exciting stuff. There's lots of really cool stuff. And there's lots of people writing about the interesting things that are going on in cities. Every city has blogs and newspapers that are writing about urbanism, transportation, housing issues, etc. And so kind of putting that together and sharing it with everybody is pretty exciting. And also I think that it kind of gives you a sense of community across the spaces. And I know that when I started blogging in 2006, I found a bunch of folks online that became kindred spirits. Getting to know everybody, getting to talk with folks about what they're doing in their cities has been a real eye-opener, and I feel like sharing all these articles is kind of the same way for a lot of you. You figure out what people are doing in different cities, and that it's not so different from what you're trying to do, or you can get tips or ideas or thoughts, or see that other people are going through the same struggles and the same politics that you are. So I think it's kind of valuable that way. So going forward, to keep this going, to keep this kind of connection, I'd like to ask for your support to keep us up and floating. Many of you have been with us for many years and have been great supporters, reading every day and saying hi at conferences and other events. And even last year, a lot of you kind of kept my spirits up by emailing when we went dark for a little while there and saying, oh, where'd you go? And that was appreciated. And all the kind words from the back of books to podcasts and everything else has really been awesome. And tweets, etc. Of course, tweets. We won't want to forget the tweets. So if you feel like this collection of news is valuable, we'd really could use your help. Think about your donation as a subscription, maybe. $5 to $10 a month would be amazing, though we wouldn't reject $1 or $2 a month either. That'd be awesome. That $5 to $10, that's 25 to 50 cents per email, or $1.25 to $2.50 per podcast episode. And that's really going to help us keep going. Me and Kelly, my intern, who does a lot of the loading onto the website, which, by the way, is searchable. So, if you search for a city, you're going to find all the articles on the website from that city. So once we get, 10 years of archiving, you're going to be able to find so much stuff in there about what's going on in that city at the time that we thought was really fascinating. So that's starting now. We got a year's worth of stuff in there. There's a lot of topics as well. We tag every article with a topic tag and a city tag. So, you get a lot of information out of that too. Some people ask why Patreon. Well, the cool thing about Patreon that differentiates it from other kind of crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter is that you're basically becoming a monthly patron of our work instead of trying to fund one big massive project or redoing this pledge drive every year. You hear the public radio stations and other podcasts and things doing that, but this is to kind of keep us going on this work that we keep on doing, and it's monthly. So if we ever tap out or you ever want to tap out, you can do that, but it's just kind of a consistent subscription for our ongoing work with a daily email as well as a weekly podcast. So that would be awesome if you guys could help us out with that. Let's keep this going, and thanks for being such loyal, awesome supporters of the blog and the news list and the podcast. We really, really couldn't obviously do it without folks that were reading. I mean, I would probably collect the news every day anyway, but putting it together in this fashion has really kind of gotten me to think about what's interesting, what's important, what you guys are really into as well. So thanks again, and I hope that you are up for supporting us. We hope that we can support you as well.